But I could do this all day. I wouldn't mind this job. I like this job. I think I might come back and do it again.
Thank you.
Look at that. Look at that. How are you?
Thank you, Mr. President. You made it possible for ordinary people like us to meet you.
You're not ordinary.
I mean, thank you so much
You
for
are not
everything you're
ordinary.
doing.
I can see.
Uh-oh, SpaghettiOs. Well, actually, would you want some McLies with that, Kamala Harris? It looks like McDonald's has now come out to confirm that there is no evidence that Kamala Harris ever worked at McDonald's. For me, I'm convinced that she's a liar, liar, pants on fire. But of course, we'll look at that. Also, we're starting to see the articles. We're starting to see if you don't vote for Kamala Harris, you don't like black people. That is desperation. We're also seeing some inklings of regret, open regret, that they cooed out Joe Biden, that Joe Biden was the better candidate in their opinion. That Joe Biden was the better candidate. And he was. I think Trump still beats him. But I do think that Kamala Harris is so wildly unlikable that it's just, you can't make this stuff up. McDonald's claims they are missing Kamala Harris's employment records as staff now sworn to secrecy. You know what's interesting about this? Certainly the IRS would have some sort of W-2 for her from McDonald's to prove this. This has been up for debate going on 2 months now. She could have made some sort of formal inquiry to the IRS so that she could 360 dunk on all her haters and be like, here's my pay stub. Here's my W-2. Yes, I did work for McDonald's. She hasn't done that. I wonder why that is. In a memo emailed to McDonald's USA franchisees, the corporation confirmed that while Harris had, quote, fond memories of working at the location in Alameda County, we and our franchisees do not have all the records dating back to positions in the early 80s. Now, that's possible. I mean, that's 40 years ago, right? And 1 in 8 people in America, 1 in 8 have worked at McDonald's. Was that 12, 13%? That's pretty good. So there's actually a significant chance that she did, in fact, work there. But she's been making this claim. By the way, she had never once made this claim about working at McDonald's until she ran for president. There is no record anywhere that she ever made this claim until she ran for president. A copy of an internal letter was posted by anonymous McDonald's franchise social media and confirmed by the Wall Street Journal. During a rally with fast food workers back in 2019, Harris said that she used to work at McDonald's in college. In April, okay, so she did mention it before she was running for president. In April 2024, during an interview with Drew Barrymore, Harris repeated the claim that she did fries at the restaurant. The Harris campaign has since stated that Harris worked at the Central Avenue McDonald's location in Alameda, California in 1983 during the summer, so she worked there for 2 months, a lot of people do, after her freshman year at Howard University. However, the campaign has been unable to provide any evidence to prove that the vice president worked there, such as a photo, a pay stub, or a fellow employee that can confirm her employment. Look, I worked at a place called Cafe Istanbul when I was 14. Pretty sure outside of subpoenaing or getting my taxes from that year from the IRS, I would also have nothing to prove that I worked there. So, you know, in the interest of being somewhat good faith, I worked at another restaurant called Omicron. Neither of these restaurants even exist anymore. I worked at a restaurant called Risky Business. That burned down. However, I also worked at Office Max. Those records would probably exist somewhere. Menards, Best Buy, all these type of things. These companies are still around. But almost certainly, those records exist somewhere buried in the IRS. Or maybe some regular schmo like me can't get it. But certainly somebody who's running for vice president, the vice president, and who's running for president could get access to those records. Employees at the franchise in Alameda, California, told the Telegraph that they have been sworn to secrecy not to speak about Harris to reporters. An employee said, quote, "I'm sorry, I don't have any information," when DailyMail.com contacted them on Monday to ask if Harris had ever worked at the location. Harris never spoke about working at McDonald's until she ran for president and protested with fast food workers in 2019. Okay, so prior to 2019, she had never, ever mentioned it, at least nowhere publicly. And here's the real interesting thing. A copy of her job resume that she submitted after college does not include any information about her job at McDonald's. So she never put it on her resume. The Harris campaign has used her claim about working at McDonald's to demonstrate her working class credentials. Bro, you grew up in like a McMansion, okay? Working at McDonald's for 3 months during summer vacation does not make you working class. I know a lot of rich parents that make their kids work at McDonald's during the summer to try and teach them the value of $1. And second they get done with their 3-hour afternoon shift, they're getting picked up on a Mercedes or a BMW. They're going to swim in their in-ground pool. I mean, literally, I had a neighbor in the last place I lived that's what they did. You know, they were rich, millionaires, in-ground pool, iPads, all this kind of, computer gaming computers, all this stuff. The kid would work 2 hours at McDonald's and then be gone, and then be back into the life of luxury. The Harris campaign has used her claim, you have a vice president who always thought of the middle class. When she was in college, she had a job at McDonald's. So what? She's been so far removed from the middle class that her job during college at McDonald's proves nothing. Like literally proves nothing. By the way, if you haven't yet, please do consider, some people used to be a member on another site, maybe looking for a new community. We're looking for 15 new members of our community. I'm not building just like a membership site like a lot of people in my space do, where they're like, give me money to keep the show on the air. No. Give me money to be a part of a community that I'm also a part of. You can talk directly to me. You get exclusive discounts not available anywhere else on stuff like Meta PCs, Anton's Biltong, Sheath, and Coffee Brand Coffee, and more. You get access to a private Discord. You can call into my live shows. You can pick live show topics. And you get 3 members-only videos per week, not available anywhere else. Nobody has this level of value. You can get it for as little as $8 a month. But I don't want you to just I want you to join the Discord. I want you to watch the members' videos. I want you to take advantage of it. And we're adding more perks almost every day. I'm working on an ammo discount right now. That might be kind of cool, huh? Now, the panic is getting so bad, the left is publicly saying, what if Joe Biden was the better candidate all along? Well, obviously, we know he was. We know he was. I still think he loses to Donald Trump. By most accounts, the election is still a horse race too close to call. But although Vice President Kamala Harris quickly assumed the presidential mantle from Joe Biden and put in place an impressive startup, October has not been particularly kind to her. Donald Trump has closed the electoral gaps, and some believe he is actually leading. No matter who wins, we have to ask, would President Biden have been a better candidate and choice despite suffering from effects of age and 81 years? Well, no, he wouldn't have been a better candidate, but he would have been better than Kamala Harris, who is turbo unlikable. Wildly unlikable. You see this? Further, suppose that the disastrous June 27th debate with Trump had not taken place, or that the Biden had been firing on all cylinders that night. Would Biden have been forced to withdraw? Well, no, obviously. The mainstream media had been covering for Joe Biden for the last 3 years, and they just couldn't cover. They just couldn't cover for that. They just couldn't cover for that. Woodward also reports that Biden's of obvious decline in physical and not mental. No, he had mental decline, in my opinion. I think most people think that. I think that he did. There were also strains in the high office. The president refused to limit his overworked schedule, despite valid criticisms that he was on near permanent holiday in Delaware or Camp David. Well, yeah, he was. It wasn't near permanent. It was permanent. And now, even more desperation kicks in. In an even more desperate move, we have CNN pundit says, quote, white folks should face accountability if they don't save democracy. What does that mean? What does that mean? Is that a threat? I feel like that's a threat. That's a literal threat. A political pundit told CNN that white folks should face accountability if they decline to elect Kamala Harris to, quote, save democracy. Lady, black folks aren't voting for Kamala Harris. Black folks are voting for Donald Trump in record numbers. And by the way, the left is going to blame you, to my black viewers. They're going to blame black men if Kamala Harris doesn't win. Watch. She claimed that the black community is, quote, doing our part. But now the white people have to turn their ire and attention to each other to ensure they do their part. So she's telling white people, hey, you gotta get after this. You've got to shame and yell at your fellow whites, because whites are a hegemony. Whites are just a group of people that all agree on everything, just like black people. No individuality. The pundit then pivoted to white women specifically. I don't want to see a women's march with pink hats on come January if something doesn't go right. What I want to see them is for them to march themselves to the polls, including today. Are you kidding me?
Was it a mistake for the former president to say what he did or to say it publicly? What was your assessment of what we heard from former President Obama?
I think that it's wonderful that President Obama is out hitting the trail for democracy, frankly. And what I think is a mistake is to let white folks escape the accountability that they must face.
Why white folks? I'm sorry, but every white person is different, just like every black person. I thought we all agreed on this. This is one of the most wildly insulting things I've ever seen. But this, my friends, is desperation, as the betting markets now have Trump up 28 points as a presidential election winner, and also have him leading in some national polls, believe it or not. Some national polls, he's actually leading. The national aggregate, now a lot of people basically stopped polling, okay? Donald Trump leads by 1.2 in the battleground states. Not enough. He's got to lead by 5. He's got to keep the pedal to the metal. He can go on a 2-week vacation when he wins the election. I'm fine with that. If you look at the national, whoa! M Consult just came out of nowhere with a Harris +4, and Ipsos came out with Harris +3. What the heck? That seems like that is very odd. That can't be real. That simply can't be real. Where is this? Where's the RCP averages? Here we go. The RCP averages. Now, these two polls came out yesterday late. Morning Consult, which only has a margin of error of 1, says that Harris leads by 4. Reuters and Ipsos have her up 3. But before that, Rasmussen has Trump up 3. TIP has it tied. Atlas Intel, which was the most accurate pollster in 2020, has Trump up 3. Her aggregate lead is 0.8. Trump is within striking distance of leading in the national polls, and I think he needs to. I think he needs to win the national popular vote. At this time in history, Clinton led by 6. She lost. Joe Biden led by 7, and he barely won. It's going to be a crazy 2 weeks, everybody. Make sure you get out and vote. Most states have early voting in person going right now. Go vote today. Tweet me a picture of your I voted sticker, and I'll share it out there. We'll talk to you again real soon.